Usually when I visit a golf course or a golf resort, I've got a very clear idea of what I want to say, the story I want to tell, what's unique, what's interesting, what I think you're going to gravitate towards. Well, for some reason with this one, I've been struggling about what story I want to tell. I recently got back from Reynolds Lake Oconee, which over the last 4 years has kind of developed into one of my personal favorite golf destinations I've ever been to. 4 years ago, I'd barely heard of the place, and now I've been there 3 times in 4 years, and I'm not gonna lie, I love it. So in today's video, after struggling to figure out what to talk about, I figured I would just tell you why I like it so much, and what makes it unique, and why I keep going back to it, because if I'm into it, there's a good chance that you may be as well. So let's do that. One of my all-time favorite destinations is Sun River Resort in Central Oregon. Being that I live in Portland, I go there like 4 to 6 times a year. We go all the time, whether you're skiing, golfing, you've got every outdoor activity imaginable. Well, in my mind, Reynolds is kind of like the Sun River on the East Coast. Yeah, there's no mountains, and yeah, the whole thing is built around a big lake, but there is something for everybody, and you could go for weeks and never run out of things to do. I think that's one of the biggest draws right off the bat. All right, so the next thing I love about Reynolds, which is kind of an obvious one, but it's important because it's the whole reason that I go there to begin with, and that's the diversity of the golf there. So there are now 7 courses at Reynolds, and what I love about it is each golf course is an entirely unique experience. It's not like if you've played one, you've played them all. Like, they each feel distinctly different in a way that you don't necessarily always see at golf resorts. Their flagship course is Great Waters, which I played for the 2nd time on this most recent trip, and I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed it even more than I did the first time. The back 9 is quite simply one of the best 9 holes of golf I've ever played. The way it weaves in and out of Lake Oconee, in and out through the forest, like, it's just a really enjoyable, very scenic, very strategic round of golf. The second most well-known course of the resort is the Oconee course, and what I love about this is it kind of takes elements of all of the different courses, blends it into one, and kind of has the best of all worlds. Some of the inland holes that wind through forests and have big, beautiful creeks that are built into design are some of my favorite on the property. And then similar to Great Waters, the holes that work themselves back out into the lake provide open, expansive vistas, strategic elements, and just some awesome views. There's more elevation than you expect there to be on the Oconee course. So the fact you're going up, you're going down, you're going out to the water, you're going inland, it just has a lot of variety and is a ton of fun to play. The impetus for this most recent trip for me was to go see the brand new Richland course. So this is the 7th course that's available. It was designed by Tom Fazio, and one of the things that's kind of cool is the national course there was originally a 27-hole design. So what they did was they took the Bluff 9 and they took the first 5 holes of that, then built a brand new 9-hole course, and then finished with the last 4 of the Bluff 9. So you've got an all-new 18-hole course that has 9 brand new holes, and then a reimagined version of the previous Bluff 9, which turned out really well. The Richland course is kind of like having 3 acts. The first 3, you start out in the forest, and I'm not gonna lie, the opening hole, it kind of gives off some Augusta National vibes, which is not necessarily surprising considering Tom Fazio, the guy that designed it, is the consulting architect at Augusta, and it's only about an hour and a half away, so you get some similar elements with the big white sand bunkers, with the big faces, as well as the pine straw, so it definitely evokes some of the same aesthetic. The first 3 holes bring you out towards the lake, and then you've got a spectacular par 3 right along the lake that's really challenging, especially when you factor in the views and the distractions that come along with having this waterfront hole. From there, you finish out that first act with hole number 5, and when you get to 6, the new holes have kind of a completely different vibe than anything else at Reynolds. They're definitely a little bit more open. The greens have a lot more undulation than you're gonna find on some of the other courses, and the fact that they built these new holes that feel so different from anything else on the property just goes back to my original point that it's great to have variety. Whether you're a visiting guest or a member, it's nice to have distinctly different golf experiences, and these new holes definitely give you that. The final 4 holes on Richland might be the most dramatic of all of them, with a big downhill par 5 that you can certainly reach into, but you're gonna have to make a pretty big carry in order to do it. And 17 is one of my favorite holes on the property, with a creek that winds all the way up on the fairway and then up to the right of the green, and it looks really cool. The only downside if you're visiting Reynolds as a guest is it is one of the 2 courses on property that are private. So Richland and the Creek Club, which was designed by Jim Eng, those are both just for Reynolds members, but they're both very unique courses, and if you get the opportunity to play, I would highly recommend you do so. So the third reason I like Reynolds so much is the Ritz Carlton Lake Oconee is unlike any resort resort I've been to. On a lot of levels, yes, it's a fancy Ritz Carlton. It's a big luxury resort. But the fact it's situated right on Lake Oconee make it very unique. I haven't personally been to many properties that are full-on lake resorts. And the best way I can describe visiting here is it's kind of like summer camp for families. So they've got an unbelievable kids club. They've got free fishing that's built into the resort fee. You've got the 7 golf courses. You've got all sorts of pools, including a family pool as well as an infinity pool right on the water that looks phenomenal. And then you throw in the fact they've got a full-on beach on the lake, and you've got something that you just don't really see anywhere else. As I mentioned, I've been there 3 times over the last few years, but I've yet to go back with my family, and it's one of the very few places I have visited for Breaking 80 that is on my short list to go back with them. So that says a lot about how much I enjoy this place and how much I think my family would enjoy it as well. So when you visit Reynolds, you've kind of got 2 options. You can stay at the Ritz Carlton for the full-on resort hotel experience, or there are cottages and condos that you can also stay at. But regardless of which one of those you choose, there are a ton of wonderful dining options. So at the Ritz, you've got Gabby's on the Lake, which has spectacular views. You have Amor del Lago, which is kind of their all-day dining option, but I was really impressed by this. It's been reimagined over the last couple years, and some of the elements they incorporated into the design to really make it feel like a nice indoor-outdoor experience, and design elements around the idea of water that kind of amplify the lakefront setting, I think are really impressive. And then whether you go to the Linger Longer Steakhouse or the National Tavern, there are all sorts of options that resort guests can visit, and if you're lucky enough to be a member, then the options just kind of amplify even more. And this brings me to my final point. One of the things I love so much about this is when you are visiting as a guest, you mostly get the experience of being a member. In the times that I've been there, and I've experienced the golf courses, and the dining, and the sporting grounds, we're able to go drive jeeps and fish, or you do shooting clays, take walks throughout the copious amounts of trails throughout the property. When you're going and you're doing all this, it's easy to imagine what it would be like to live here and be a member. And I think that's part of why I enjoy it so much. You're able to go to this place where there's true community, where you feel stress-free, where there's an unbelievable amount of options for things to do, and I just think that's kind of unique. It goes back, it's kind of similar to the idea of Sun River. So if you're a member at Crosswater or a member at Sun River Golf Club, you get access to all of these things that make living or visiting in a location like that so enjoyable. And every time I've been to Reynolds, there's been new things to discover, new things that I've wanted to do that I haven't had time to do, and it's given me lots and lots of reasons to come back. And I can only imagine how nice it would be to be a member at a place like that one day, because it is definitely special. So I know this video is a little bit all over the place, but if you've never heard of Reynolds, now you do, and it's definitely a place that I would put on my short list, whether you're thinking about taking a family vacation, whether you want a buddy's golf trip, or if you really just want a romantic lakeside getaway. Reynolds can kind of be all of those things, and I think that's part of what makes it such a special destination. If you like this video and you want to learn more about some of my other favorite golf resorts, then go watch this playlist right here. I think you will really enjoy those videos and discovering some new places that maybe you've been to or maybe you haven't. So go check that out, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you on the next video. Peace.